Hey guys, so tell me if I'm wrong here, tell me if I'm wrong here, but does Wano in the anime just seem to be getting better and better? Like I don't know if it's just like the content we're doing, but there's something about Wano right now, specifically in the anime, that makes me say I'm kind of enjoying this on par with the manga. Like again, I don't know if it's just me, but just let me know because I that's what I'm feeling right now. So yeah, but let's get into it. So right out of the gate, one thing I love instantly about this episode is how in the very short time that we've seen Kinemon in this flashback and his life as a rogue, it still managed to so naturally show the qualities that would become staples of his character, and it all happens through this one simple battle encounter with the boar. Like his his bravery obviously being the most obvious one, but also how selfless like Kinemon truly is, and that behind the whole facade of being selfish he generally does care for he doesn't generally does care for pretty much the people who are most important to him, and how when the chips are down and faced with a scenario he feels guilty over, he will take full responsibility for those. He will step up, he will take full responsibility, and he will fight for those he pretty much feels he pretty much feels are worthy. Like these are pretty much all like staples of the character we've pretty much come to know in the present time. So it's kind of amazing to see how those staples had always existed, even back then when he was just I guess a criminal or a rogue or whatever you want to call him. Um, I also have to give the series credit that just in the span of 2 episodes, it's already brought me into Suru and Kinemon's relationship and just the idea of what it would become later in life. Like just in these 2 episodes alone, I already feel I already like I already get the great amount of chemistry that those two have. And I think it's a lot of all this are really at the end of the day. I think all of it in general, it comes from I think a strength that Oda like specifically is great at when it comes to writing One Piece in general, which is the knack for writing flawed but likable characters. The ones who we pretty much know, like the ones we understand, the ones we understand, even though what they're doing isn't right, and it's not, and even like it's just, and these characters are flawed enough to understand them, but they never get to the point of annoyingly flawed. So like, it's kind of amazing in that sense, really. Of course, the episode also gave us an epic moment of Oden killing the boar. Obviously, like we knew that was going to happen, but only to follow up by getting the notice that his father has disavowed him. And getting into the second point real quick, looking back, it's actually kind of ironic to think that being disavowed by his father is actually how Oden's legend of being the most, the most memorialized, the most memorialized hero of Wano like this is all how had started. Like this is how that legend of how Oden's legend truly began, because it didn't. Because if you think about it, it didn't happen when what eventually became of Oden's legacy. It wouldn't have even happened had it wouldn't have even happened if he didn't have the freedom to do in order to roam Wano and see for himself what his own country was like. It was because of the freedom that his father granted him that he was allowed to kind of just in order to truly see just what kind of problems that Wano as a country had. Um, and and going off what I said about Kinemon, I kind of like how Kinemon and Denjiro had become Oden's vassals through just pure admiration. And even though that was definitely the case, like purely the case for Denjiro, like with Denjiro, he was purely I want to I want to be with Odin Sama. Denjiro is obviously a pure case of pure admiration for the man. But looking back now, I kind of realized that a lot of Kinemon's motivation and admiration was that he kind of felt indebted to Odin because of his lack of strength, and it's weirdly enough, that same feeling that would inevitably lead to his inability to protect Odin. Like he pretty much joined. I think subconsciously, whether he knew it or not, I think Kinemon had joined Odin in order to the hopes of becoming in order to generally become as strong as him. But and because he wanted the strength in order to protect the people he cared about. But inevitably, inevitably he would still pretty much lack the strength in order to protect the person most close he cared about the most, which was Odin. Like obviously he cares about his wife. I'm not denying that, but in terms of the one he's most loyal to, yeah, it kind of breaks your heart a bit to know that even after respecting Odin for so long and wanting to become as strong as him, he still lacked the strength in order to protect him in the end. Um, and another thing I really like about this episode that pretty much kind of sections off to the point about Odin's legend is I like how what explicitly forms his legend into existence are pretty much just his travels across Wano and anyone from like people he didn't even know to ones he would have encounters with would just naturally follow him and become his vassals. Like it's kind of a testament to show that even though Odin was very clumsy and not all that and not all the most refined person, he still had a natural leadership quality about him. And or in this episode's case, we get to see the origin. And in this episode's case specifically, the one thing I want to focus on in terms of the vassals who do follow him are we get to we get to also see the origins of Kikunojo and his brother Izo. And for those who don't know the latter's name, that was the 16th Division commander of Whitebeard's crew. And suddenly, Nekomamushi's passing line about being on board both Rogers and Whitebeard's ships suddenly makes so much more sense now. And it's one of those things where you don't even think how someone like Izo joined Whitebeard's crew, but at the same time, when you look at what's going to happen, it connects so perfectly. Like it makes so much sense as to how Izo like became a regular commander on Whitebeard's crew. It's because he originally joined with Oden. Um, of course, one of the people who also ended up joining him, as we see, is Kanjuro as well, which, yeah, I'll get again. I'm holding back for as long as I can until what we get with him, but let's just say I'll go into more detail about Kanjuro after this little flashback, because trust me, that's where I'm gonna have a lot to say. Also, on a small side note, we actually get new eye catcher transitions in this episode that I guess I don't know if these were made specifically for this flashback or not, but if they were, then these are really well made. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, they have the one thing that I really like about these eye catchers is they have this is not only how that they manage to capture is how that not only they have this feeling of like capturing a moment in history almost, but which makes it all more somber. But another thing I really like is that like all the colors used in these eye catchers are just so warm. Like these I'm not to get too emotional about it, but these eye catchers just give me such a warm feeling. I don't know how else to describe it to you, but yeah, that's the best I can do. Like these are probably some of the best. Honestly, these are kind of some of the best eye catchers I think I've seen in the One Piece anime. Honestly, now obviously the other thing we need to talk about is the elephant, or I guess in this case the snake in the room, as the episode also shows Orochi during his time as a servant of Yasui. And that's one of those things where I have to remind myself of the motivation behind Orochi's hatred, because seeing this part of Orochi's life now does make Yasui's death in some ways all the more frustrating, even more than before, because you realize how perfect of a cover this was for him to enact the inevitable plan when when it all starts, like when it all even begins. Like the thing about Orochi in this episode is I have no I don't I think he genuinely started as a genuinely nice person, I think. But I think there was some, but let's just say that there is definitely there's definitely lurkings of a troublemaker behind that, and it's only going to get more freaking it's only going to get and that side of him is only going to get more aggravated into that of revenge, let's put it that way. So um and but even more so than that, we also see instances where you definitely see Yasui looking at you see Yasui staring down Orochi in this episode, and he has this look of internal doubt about what exactly Orochi's allegiances lie, and it kind of adds a little more extra to the final moments before Yasui's execution. Like it just kind of, you look at it now and you say, wow, that's just kind of there was already like a severe amount of distrust between the two already. So yeah, but yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Dead Man of Enemy, signing off. Later, guys.